This week we're talking about being an agent of change, an agent of change. And I've provided for you the change continuum. You see, I think that one of the number one keys for a leader today is the ability to change. Our style, our approach, not necessarily our principles and values, but our style and our approach. We have to be able to quickly assimilate information, adjust our style and approach, or adjust our style and approach for what the time, the situation may require. Notice I'm not saying change your principles and values. Those should be unchanging. Plant your flag in the sand. But our approach may need to adjust. 5 generations in the workplace, changing technologies, and so on and so on. The context that we operate in has changed. So I want to quickly walk you through this change continuum so that you can pick out one thing over the next 30 days and be a little bit better at it 31 days from today than you were last week. Okay? First step in change, as you can see in that change continuum, hopefully you printed it out, willingness. You got to be willing to change. How will I know you're willing? When you buy a book, when you listen to a tape, when you participate in something like this. The number one way I'll know you're willing is you ask for help. Doesn't mean you're weak. Doesn't mean you're anything. You know what it means? It means you're an effective leader today when you stand up and say, I need a little bit of help being better tomorrow than I was in the past. That's the leadership that we all admire today, is a leader that admits they may need some assistance. Not that you don't know where to go, but you may need some assistance in how to get there. That collaborative leadership style where we convene others is what people appreciate today, willingness. But in and of itself, willingness is not enough. I've got to be educated. Educated. For the first time in the history of mankind, you can become an expert in anything. You see, we have the University of Google. We have the University of Yahoo. We have the University of Ask Jeeves. We have the University of whatever your search engine is. You type in the thing you want to learn about, and guess what? You get 495,000 responses in 1.29 seconds. I don't have time. Well, listen to what Eisenhower said. He said, take 15 minutes a day and apply it to the thing you want to be better at. And he didn't have the internet. You took 15 minutes a day for the next 30 days on the thing you want to be better at, and you're going to get some education. But education in and of itself is not enough. You and I know a whole bunch of people with a whole bunch of fancy letters after their name, but the elevator doesn't go to the top. They are educated, but they don't get it. They don't understand. So to gain true understanding about a subject matter, I would suggest the blended learning approach. I've got to hear about it. I've got to read about it. I've got to write about it. I've got to talk about it. I got to think about it. And I got to do it. That will give you true understanding. Side note to all of us that supervise people, if you want employees to get true understanding, you'll use the blended learning approach as well. Just sending out an email or putting up a memo probably won't get it done. Blended learning is the key to adult behavioral change. Willingness, education, understanding. But you know what? Those things aren't enough either. John F. Kennedy said this, it's not enough to see a problem. It's not enough to understand a problem. Action and action alone will solve the world's ills. So we have to have some kind of prism to take all of that willingness, education, and understanding and push it through so it's laser-like. It's called action. So for action to be effective, clearly defined objective, with clearly defined timelines, with clearly defined action steps that I put on paper. I've given you a tool. You can pick out one thing, write it down, use that tool that you put on paper. Next step, accountability, and give to somebody else. In some white space free of charge, write this. Who have I given permission to tell me what to do? Larry Bird had a coach. Tiger Woods, a coach. Aretha Franklin, a coach. Michael Jordan, a coach. All of the great top performers in the history of mankind had a coach. Why? Because they were willing to give permission to somebody else to tell them what to do. Who's that for you? You won't reach your full potential unless you have that, and you certainly won't change. Accountability. Put those actions on paper and give them to somebody else. And then finally, analysis. Stop the bus every once in a while. Relook at that action plan that you've put together. Maybe get some advice from those people that you trust and who care about you, and see if you're still making progress. Willingness, education, understanding, action, accountability, and analysis. That continuum, the change continuum, I guarantee you, you follow those 6 steps, you follow them with your whole heart, and by the end of this 30 days, you'll be a little bit better than you were at the beginning. And what does that translate into? A better department. And what does that translate into? A better community for thousands. Have a great week, everybody.